Yes. Thanks to COVID, Harvard's offering online classes for students, but at the same price as the old grift at 50 grand. Does it matter? After all, a Harvard education really isn't for the education, it's for the name. Harvard is the ultimate virtue signal for the elites. They're selling authority, same way the New York Times does. So wherever you go among the quarters of pretension, you find these clowns, always trying to act casual when they drop Harvard into a conversation. It's then you see how an overpriced, overvalued education leaves you with overbearing drips who wear bow ties but still can't tie them. But this is where COVID helps, because online classes will make college way better for parents. For it'll be easier to see how professors who were indoctrinated a decade before are indoctrinating now. The parent can see what garbage is being ladled into their offspring's skulls right from their very laptop. You'll soon realize that college is vocational training for idiots on how to throw tantrums on TikTok. Academia is exposed for what it is, a scam. And so you see where your cash really goes, not to education, but to administrators who balloon costs from kindergarten to grad school. Fact is, our education system doesn't make people smarter. It makes some people richer and others poorer. And judging by the nature of today's leftist, dumber, infantile, and obviously unstable. Tuitions are at an all-time high, but carry-out intelligence is at an all-time low. So I say, go online. The best part, no weird college roommates, unless you count mom and dad. So Dana, I have a theory that I think you'll like. Once we combine online courses with actual talented performers, college is dead, meaning if academia mimicked Peloton, which basically took the gym out of the gym and brought it online and then hired extremely charismatic, talented performers to exercise, the gym becomes irrelevant. If they apply that model to college and put it on YouTube, who needs Harvard?
I totally agree. Education, I think, has been forever changed because of coronavirus. I don't think that is being too extreme either. You look at a place like Purdue University. In the last, I believe, 7 years, they've not raised tuition at all. Their graduates do very well. They have connections to employers that help pay for tuition for lower income students. And the education is superb. I remember when I was a kid, Greg, I wanted Guess jeans so badly. And my mom and dad were like, no. Levi's will do just fine for you. And I was so upset because I wanted that brand. And the truth is, Levi's were excellent jeans. And I think that's what people are going to start to find out, that if Harvard, part of the thing of going to college is the experience, right? It's not just going to class. It's that you get to meet people, you hang out, you get to go to lectures, you get to go to parties, you get to do all that stuff. How in the world Harvard could not have figured out how to lower the tuition price for people in this situation makes me think that they don't even want to. Remember, they tried to get the PPP loans as well. So I think that education is forever changed, and I do hope that some new institutions are built out of this. What about somebody like Peter Thiel, who had that great program to offer people some money if they didn't go to college? But what about something more structured, a new institution that people could look to? Because we're in a whole new world. Why not we should just all go for it?
Exactly. You know, Jesse, Dana brought up the point about, you know, people go to college because it's part of for the experience. I believe, and I know you disagree, that the college experience is completely overrated. But I'm sure you feel differently.
Well, I don't know what you did in college, Greg, but I thought the college experience was pretty helpful. But everybody knows the hardest part about Harvard is getting into Harvard. Once you're into Harvard, it's like impossible to get below a B. What do they say? Like half of life is just showing up? Well, same with Harvard. But now you don't even have to show up. So it's like the University of Phoenix, Cambridge campus. So what you need to do is somehow quantify the Harvard experience and then lop that cost off of the tuition. And I don't see why people aren't burning up the trustees' phones right now with that very idea. Because if you're Harvard, you probably don't want to open because of litigation or because some of the professors are 65 and over and they don't want to sit in the classroom with a bunch of young carriers. So in that case, slap on a mask, crack the window, and separate the desks 6 feet. Or do what everybody loves hold classes outside, in the quad, on the football field. I'm sure Yale is doing that.
But I think Yale's changing their name, so that's another story. One, isn't part of this,
right.
It's going to be great for parents because they might be able to see exactly what's being taught, right?
Sure, I'm not sure I'd understand. I mean, you know, gosh, you get into some of these more theoretical classes, it's tough. I went back and read my thesis a couple of years ago. I didn't understand a word. But, I mean, to your point, though, here's where I come down, Greg. I got to tell you, you know, Harvard's a private institution, right? If you get into Harvard and you don't want to go, don't enroll. Don't pay the price. You can make that call. I just don't think many people are going to make that call on a very practical level. Most people understand that it's not just about the credential, which is very impressive, a Harvard education, but it's also about associating with other very smart people who are going somewhere in life. It's a very select group of people. And even if they aren't able to come together initially next year because of the COVID virus situation, that doesn't mean they're not going to get back together come 2021, late 2021, 2022 and beyond. The thing that I, of course, am reacting to today is the president saying everybody's got to have schools open in the fall. And of course, it's not only the professors, it's the teachers at the elementary and high schools who say they worry for themselves. It's parents who worry about what happens if, you know, it's hard to have social distancing on a school bus. They're real issues that we have to deal with. And instead of making it political, I think we should really talk about how can we get schools to work this fall.
I don't think anybody made it political when you said you want to open the schools. That's actually making a statement. Politicizing is saying, but you didn't think about the health problems. Everybody knows the health problems. By the way, I think parents will be kind of relieved that their kids are going back to school. If I was a parent, I'd want them out of the house. Emily, last word to you.
Yeah, but you don't want to get sick, you know.
Right. I'll just say
I
that
never
this
thought of
doesn't
that.
surprise
Thank
me.
you.
This doesn't surprise me at all, you guys. Remember when the University of California hiked tuition, and then it was, you know, it became known that 85% of that hike was because of pensions. Like, sure, this is that association with the exclusivity, but it's also just bad math. Harvard has the largest endowment in the country, right? Last year it was almost $41 billion, and yet they pay out 70% of their student body get some financial aid in some way. So it makes all the sense to me that they wouldn't lower costs even if there's no operating overhead anymore, of course, because they have to pay all the bills, all of those things, that the pensions, the professorships, everything, all of their extended obligations and debts, those are not going anywhere. It's just bad math.